I check my phone for the 7th time in the past 10 minutes. Still nothing. No text, no call, no apologetic explanation for why Marcus, the accountant my best friend swore was perfect for me, is now 43 minutes late to our first date. The waiter circles past again, his sympathetic smile making my cheeks burn. I order another glass of water I don't want, to justify continuing to occupy this table at Carmichael's, the kind of upscale Italian restaurant where a single appetizer costs more than my weekly grocery budget. I shouldn't have come. I definitely shouldn't have worn this dress, the navy blue one I found at a consignment shop and had altered to fit correctly. The one that made me feel, for just a moment this afternoon, like someone who belonged in places like this. But I don't belong here. That much is becoming painfully clear. My phone buzzes. Finally, I grab it so quickly I nearly knock over my water glass. Marcus Chen. So sorry, got back with my ex tonight. You seem nice, though. Good luck out there. The words blur slightly as I read them twice. Then 3 times. Each time, hoping they'll somehow rearrange themselves into something less humiliating. Got back with his ex. Tonight. While I was sitting here waiting, probably looking like the saddest woman in Manhattan. I should leave. Just stand up, walk out, and pretend this never happened. But my legs won't move. My hands are shaking too much to sign the check for the water I've been nursing like it's liquid gold. That's when I feel it. The weight of someone's attention, pressing against my skin like physical touch. I look up slowly, scanning the dimly lit restaurant. Most tables are occupied by couples leaning close over candlelight, or business associates discussing deals over wine that costs more per glass than my monthly Metro card. Then I see him. He's sitting alone at a corner table, partially obscured by shadows. But even from here I can tell he's different. Tall, even seated, his presence commands space. Dark hair styled with casual precision. A suit that looks like it was sewn directly onto his body by someone who charges obscene amounts for the privilege. And he's staring directly at me. Not the glance of someone people-watching. Not the polite eye contact of strangers in public. He's studying me with an intensity that makes my breath catch in my throat. Our eyes meet, hold. Something electric passes between us, something I don't have words for. Then he stands. Moves toward my table with the fluid confidence of someone who's never been told no in his entire life. Every instinct screams at me to look away, to gather my things and leave before whatever this is can unfold. But I'm frozen, watching him approach like he's a force of nature I have no hope of evading. He stops at my table. Up close, he's even more striking. Sharp cheekbones, a jaw that could cut glass, eyes so dark they're nearly black, with a scar cutting through his left eyebrow that should make him look dangerous. It does make him look dangerous, but not in a way that makes me want to run. Your date isn't coming. His voice is low, accented with something that makes me think of old-world Italy and family traditions carried across oceans. How do you know that? My voice comes out smaller than I intended. Because I've been watching you check your phone every 3 minutes for the past hour. And because any man who would leave you waiting alone is either a fool or already dead. He gestures to the empty chair across from me. May I? I should say no. Everything about this, about him, screams danger. But I hear myself say, okay. He sits, and suddenly the restaurant feels different, smaller, like the air itself has changed temperature. Dante Salvatore. He extends his hand across the table. I take it. His palm is warm, his grip confident without being aggressive. Emma Chen. Chen, like your date who failed to appear? One dark eyebrow rises slightly. Chen's my married name. Well, my divorce name now, I guess. I kept it because... I stop, realizing I'm babbling. That's not important. Everything about you seems important, Emma Chen. He releases my hand, but doesn't break eye contact. How long divorced? 2 years. How is that relevant? Because you're still wearing the guilt of it. The belief that somehow his leaving was your failure. His words cut through me like a blade. It wasn't. You don't know anything about me. But even as I say it, I'm unsettled by how accurately he's read me in 30 seconds. I know you're a school teacher. 3rd grade, maybe 4th. I know you have at least one child, a daughter, based on the charm bracelet you keep touching when you're nervous. I know you work a second job because your dress is expensive but altered, meaning you bought it secondhand and had it tailored yourself. And I know you're exactly the kind of woman who shouldn't be in a place like this, sitting alone. My heart is pounding now. How could you possibly— I pay attention. He leans back, completely at ease despite having just cataloged my entire life like some psychological profiler. And I want to know more. Have dinner with me, Emma. Let me salvage what's left of your evening. I don't even know you. Then let's fix that. I'm Dante Salvatore. I own 3 restaurants in Manhattan, including this one. I'm 34 years old. I don't like wasting time on games or people who lie. And I've been sitting at that table for the past hour trying to convince myself not to approach you. His eyes hold mine. It didn't work. You own this restaurant? I look around Carmichael's with new eyes, suddenly understanding the subtle deference I'd noticed from the staff whenever they glanced in his direction. Among others. But we're not talking about me yet. We're talking about why a woman who clearly doesn't want to be here put on her best dress and showed up anyway. My friend Riley set it up. She's been trying to get me to date for months. I twist the cloth napkin in my lap. She means well. Does she? Or does she just want you to stop making her feel guilty about having moved on with her own life? The observation stings because it's uncomfortably close to the truth. Riley, with her perfect marriage and her matching his and hers BMWs, and her subtle comments about how I need to put myself out there before I'm too old to attract quality men. That's harsh, I say quietly, but accurate. Dante raises his hand slightly, and a waiter appears instantly. We'll have the tasting menu, and bring a bottle of the Barolo from my private reserve. Sir, I should mention— I don't care what I was saving it for. Bring it now. His tone doesn't rise, but the waiter nods and disappears like smoke. I can't afford— You're not paying. I invited you to dinner. In what world would I allow you to pay? He looks genuinely offended by the suggestion. I don't accept expensive things from strangers. Then it's fortunate I'm not planning to remain a stranger. A slight smile touches his lips. It transforms his face from intimidating to something else entirely. Something that makes my stomach flip. Tell me about your daughter. What's her name? I should leave. This is too much, too fast, and too intense. But something about the way he asks, like he genuinely wants to know, not just making polite conversation, loosens something in my chest. Sophie. She just turned 8 last month. I touched the bracelet on my wrist without thinking. She made this for me. Each charm represents something she thinks is important. The book because I'm a teacher. The heart because— her words— you have the biggest heart of anyone. She's right. He says it with such certainty, like it's an observable fact rather than an opinion. You don't know that. I know you've been sitting here for over an hour, alone and humiliated, and your primary concern is still not wanting to waste the waiter's time or the restaurant's table. I know you kept your ex-husband's name because changing it would have confused your daughter, even though it cost you something to carry it. I know you're terrified right now, but you're still here, which means you're braver than you give yourself credit for. The wine arrives. Dante goes through the tasting ritual, then nods his approval. The waiter pours for both of us. To terrible first dates, Dante raises his glass, and better second chances. I shouldn't drink with this man. I shouldn't be here at all. But I lift my glass anyway, and when it touches his with a soft clink, something shifts. Some invisible lines cross. I'm not looking for a relationship, I say, like establishing boundaries will protect me from whatever this is becoming. I have Sophie to think about, and my job, and I'm finally getting my life stable after the divorce that wasn't your fault, but that you've been punishing yourself for anyway. He sips his wine, watching me over the rim. What did he do? Cheat? Leave you for someone younger, Both? Both, with his 23-year-old assistant. The words taste bitter even 2 years later. Very original, I know, and he made you feel like it was your fault. Like if you'd been prettier, thinner, and more exciting, he wouldn't have strayed. Dante's jaw tightened slightly. Men like that deserve to suffer. That's a little intense. Is it? You're sitting here, 2 years later, still believing you weren't enough. Meanwhile, he's probably living his mediocre life, having convinced you that his failure was yours. He leans forward slightly. Emma, listen to me. You are enough. More than enough. Any man who couldn't see that doesn't deserve the privilege of your time. My throat tightens. I take a long sip of wine to avoid having to respond. It's rich and complex, probably worth more than I want to know. Why are you really here alone tonight? I ask, desperate to shift focus away from my failures. A man who owns restaurants and drinks wine like this doesn't exactly seem like he lacks dinner companions. Something dark flickers across his face. Maybe I'm tired of dinner companions who want something from me. Money, status, protection, access. He studies me carefully. You didn't even know who I was. Should I have? In certain circles, yes. In yours? He shakes his head. No, and that's exactly what makes you dangerous, Emma Chen. I'm not dangerous to anyone except apparently myself. Wrong. You're dangerous because you're real. Because you're sitting here, terrified and brave at the same time, letting a stranger see parts of you that you probably hide from everyone else. His hand moves across the table, stopping just short of touching mine. That kind of authenticity is rare, especially in my world. What world is that exactly? You said you own restaurants, but... I trail off, not sure how to articulate the feeling that there's more to Dante Salvatore than dining establishments and expensive wine. I own restaurants, yes, among other things. Business interests that require certain discretion. He holds my gaze steadily. I'm telling you this now because I don't believe in deception, not with people who matter. I'm a person who matters. We met 20 minutes ago. Time frames are irrelevant, he said. Some people matter immediately, others never do. He finally closed the distance between us. His fingers brushed mine on the white tablecloth, light, intentional. You matter, Emma, Dante continued. I knew it the moment you sat down, dressed for a date that wasn't coming, and stayed anyway. Because leaving would have meant wasting the waiter's effort. The first course arrived. A delicate arrangement of burrata and heirloom tomatoes, almost too beautiful to eat. Dante didn't move his hand away. Neither did I. I teach 3rd grade at PS 118 in Brooklyn, I heard myself say. I work weekend nights at a bookstore in Park Slope to supplement my income. Sophie and I live in a 1-bedroom apartment. She gets the bedroom. I sleep on a pull-out couch in the living room. I took a breath. My ex-husband pays child support when he remembers to. That's about 60% of the time. I drive a 2012 Honda Civic with a dent in the passenger door. I met his eyes. That's my world, Dante. It's nothing like restaurants and private wine reserves. Your world sounds infinitely more real than mine. His thumb traced across my knuckles. Such a small movement, but it sent electricity up my arm. When was the last time someone took care of you, Emma? The question landed harder than anything else he'd said. I opened my mouth, then closed it. I didn't have an answer. That's what I thought, he said gently. The intensity didn't fade, but something in his voice softened. Let me take you to dinner, tomorrow night, somewhere less public than this. Let me show you what it's like to be prioritized. I have Sophie tomorrow night, I said. Her father was supposed to take her this weekend, but he canceled. Again. The bitterness crept into my voice before I could stop it. Then bring her. He said it like it was the most obvious thing in the world. You want me to bring my 8-year-old daughter to our second date? I want you to stop making excuses for why you don't deserve good things, Dante said calmly. If Sophie is part of your life, and clearly she is, then she's part of this too. He leaned back slightly, but he still didn't let go of my hand. I'm good with children, Emma. They tend to sense authenticity better than adults do. The rest of dinner passed in a blur. Exquisite food. Conversation that felt both too intimate and not intimate enough. Dante asked questions the way an archaeologist uncovers artifacts. Careful, deliberate, genuinely interested in what he found. And I talked about my childhood in Queens, an only child of immigrant parents who worked 3 jobs between them so I could go to college. About how I wanted to be a writer, and how I chose teaching instead because it was practical. About the way Sophie lights up when she talks about books, and how it feels like looking at myself at that age. I didn't know when it happened, only that somewhere between the burrata and dessert, this stopped feeling like a date, and started feeling like a turning point. You didn't settle, Dante says when I use that word. You chose to invest in other people's stories instead of just your own. There's nobility in that. Or cowardice. They're not mutually exclusive. We're all running from something, Emma. The question is whether we're running towards something better or just away from something that hurt us. His words sit heavy in my chest because they're too accurate. I've been running for 2 years now. Running from the humiliation of my failed marriage. Running from the feeling that I wasn't enough. Running from the version of myself who used to have dreams bigger than just surviving each month. When the check arrives, Dante doesn't even glance at it. He places a black credit card on top without looking, his attention still fixed on me. Thank you for dinner, I say, suddenly exhausted from feeling so much in such a short time. This was unexpected. Unexpected good or unexpected bad? I don't know yet. I haven't decided if I'm allowed to enjoy this. Why wouldn't you be allowed? He signs the receipt with barely a glance, then stands and offers his hand. Come, I'll drive you home. That's not necessary. I can take the subway. Emma. He says my name like he's tasting it, rolling it around to see how it fits. I'm not letting you take the subway at 11 at night. That's non-negotiable. I should argue, should maintain my independence. But honestly, the thought of the long train ride back to Brooklyn, alone with my thoughts and the ghost of Marcus's rejection text, makes me want to accept Dante's offer. Okay, I say quietly. Outside, the Manhattan night is warm for October. A black Mercedes SUV pulls up the moment we step onto the sidewalk, a driver emerging to open the back door. Dante guides me in with a hand at the small of my back. Proprietary, but not possessive. The interior smells like leather and something expensive I can't name. Where in Brooklyn? Dante asks as we pull into traffic. I give him my address, watching his face for judgment. My neighborhood is safe, but definitely not trendy. Not the Brooklyn that transplants right think pieces about. I know someone who owns a building near there, he says neutrally. Good neighborhood, lots of families. You don't have to pretend. It's not exactly Park Slope or Brooklyn Heights. I'm not pretending anything. I grew up in Red Hook before it became fashionable, before the waterfront was condos and organic markets. I remember when it was warehouses and people who couldn't afford Manhattan. He looks at me directly. Never apologize for where you come from, Emma. It's usually more honest than where people end up. The drive to Brooklyn feels both too long and not long enough. We talk about small things, Sophie's favorite books, the restaurant business, New York neighborhoods, and how they change. But underneath it all is that current of electricity, that awareness that something significant is happening, even if neither of us will name it. When we pull up to my building, a modest 4-story brick structure that's seen better decades, Dante opens his door before the driver can. You don't have to walk me up, I start to protest. I'm walking you to your door. That's also non-negotiable. There's no room for argument in his tone. We climb 3 flights because the elevator has been out of service for 6 weeks. I'm acutely aware of the chipped paint on the walls, the smell of someone's cooking lingering in the stairwell, and the way my keys jangle too loudly in the quiet. At my door, I turn to face him. Thank you again. For everything. For salvaging what was shaping up to be one of my more pathetic evenings. There's nothing pathetic about you. He's standing closer than strictly necessary in the narrow hallway. Tomorrow, 6 o'clock. I'll pick you up. You and Sophie. Dante, Don't think. That's your problem, Emma. You think too much about all the reasons why you shouldn't have good things. His hand comes up, his thumb brushing across my cheekbone so gently I might have imagined it. One dinner. If you hate it, if you want nothing to do with me, I'll disappear. You'll never see me again except perhaps across a crowded restaurant. But give yourself one more chance. I should say no. Every rational part of my brain is screaming at me to say no. This man is too intense, too confident, too everything. He exists in a world so far removed from mine that we might as well be different species. But standing here in my shabby hallway, with his hand still touching my face like I'm something precious, I hear myself whisper, 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock, he confirms. Then he steps back, breaking the contact. Lock your door behind you. Text me when you're inside safely. I don't have your number. He pulls out his phone, opens it with a glance, then extends it to me. Put yours in. My hands are shaking slightly as I type my contact information. When I hand it back, his fingers brush mine, and that electricity sparks again. Good night, Emma Chen. He turns and walks back down the hallway, and I have the strangest feeling that my life just changed in some fundamental way I don't yet understand. Inside my apartment, my babysitter Mia is asleep on my pull-out couch, her nursing textbook still open on her chest. Sophie is safely sleeping in her room, her nightlight casting pink shadows on the walls. I pay Mia and send her home, then collapse onto the couch that will be my bed. My phone buzzes. Dante. Is Sophie allergic to anything? Any foods she won't eat? Me. How did you get this number? I just gave it to you 5 minutes ago. Dante. I texted you immediately. You were inside. Are you just now checking your phone? Me. I had to pay the babysitter. And no allergies. She's 8, so she thinks vegetables are poison, but she'll eat basically anything else. Dante. Good. See you tomorrow at 6. Wear something comfortable. And Emma? Me, yes? Dante. Stop thinking of reasons why this won't work. Try imagining just for one day that it might. I stare at his message for a long time before responding. Me, I'll try. Good night, Dante. Dante. Good night, Bella. I fall asleep with my phone still in my hand and dream of dark eyes, gentle touches, and words that sound like promises. Saturday morning arrives with Sophie bouncing on my pull-out couch at precisely 7:04 a.m., which is apparently the only time children understand as sleeping in. Mom, can we go to the library today, please? There's a new series Miss Rachel told me about, and she stops mid-sentence, studying my face with the unnerving perception only 8-year-olds possess. Why do you look different? I don't look different. I pull her down for a hug, breathing in the strawberry scent of her shampoo. You do, you look... She tilts her head, considering. Sparkly. Sparkly is not a look, baby. It is now. What happened last night? Was your date nice? Did he bring you flowers? The date didn't show up. I watch her face fall. But someone else did, and I need to talk to you about tonight. Over chocolate chip pancakes, Sophie's favorite, which I make from scratch because the boxed mix tastes like cardboard, I try to explain last night in 8-year-old appropriate terms. Man at the restaurant. Very nice. Wants to take us both to dinner. Would that be okay? Sophie's face goes through several expressions in rapid succession. Confusion. Consideration. Then something that looks uncomfortably like hope. Is he like a boyfriend? She asks carefully. No, he's just a friend. A new friend who invited us to dinner. Does he know about Dad? The question hits harder than it should. He knows I'm divorced, yes. Does he know Dad forgot my birthday last month? Sophie. I set down my fork, reaching across the table for her hand. Dad didn't forget. He just got busy and... It's okay, Mom. I'm not sad anymore. But her eyes tell a different story. I just don't want you to be sad either. You've been sad for a really long time. Children see too much. Remember too much. File away pain in places you think you've hidden successfully. I'm working on being less sad, I say quietly. Then we should go to dinner with the new friend. Maybe he'll help. She says it with such simple logic, like human connection is really that straightforward. It could be. Perhaps I'm the one making it complicated. We spend the day at the Brooklyn Public Library, Sophie's spiritual home. She checks out 7 books, the maximum allowed, and spends 20 minutes explaining to me in precise detail why each one is essential to her continued survival. I pretend to be overwhelmed while taking mental notes because this enthusiasm, this passion for stories, is what I'm fighting to protect. At 4 o'clock, I received a text. Dante, what's Sophie's favorite color? Me, purple. Why? Dante, you'll see, 2 hours. I shower while Sophie watches cartoons, then spend 45 minutes trying to decide what something comfortable means in Dante Salvatore's world. I settle on jeans and a soft green sweater that Riley gave me last Christmas, the only piece of clothing I own that costs more than $50. Sophie appears in my doorway as I'm attempting to do something with my hair beyond functional ponytail. You look pretty, Mom. She's wearing her favorite purple dress, the one with pockets, because pockets are apparently the height of fashion sophistication when you're 8. So do you, baby. Is the friend fancy? Do I need to use my fancy manners? Just be yourself. He's going to love you. The words come out before I can stop them, presumptuous and terrifying. But Sophie nods, as if this makes perfect sense. At 5:58, there's a knock at my door. I open it to find Dante standing in my hallway, looking both entirely out of place and somehow perfectly natural. He's wearing dark jeans and a black sweater that probably costs more than my monthly rent, holding a purple gift bag that immediately catches Sophie's attention. You must be Sophie. Dante crouches down to her level, a gesture I didn't expect from someone so imposing. Your mom has told me a lot about you. Sophie studies him with the same careful assessment she applies to new books. Are you the friend who invited us to dinner? I am. That's a really fancy car. She's looking past him to the street where the black SUV is parked, drawing attention from several of my neighbors. Would you like to see inside? She looks at me for permission. I nod, and she takes Dante's extended hand without hesitation. My daughter, who's suspicious of most adults after too many disappointments from her father, takes the hand of a man she met 30 seconds ago. Dante looks back at me as they walk down the hallway. Something passes between us. A question, maybe. Or recognition. I follow them down, trying not to think too hard about how right they look together. In the car, Sophie is entranced. She explores every button, investigates every compartment, and asks questions about horsepower and mileage that Dante answers with surprising patience. When she finally settles into her seat, he hands her the purple gift bag. For me? Her eyes go wide. For you. I heard you like to read. She opens it carefully, reverently. Inside is a first edition, an actual first edition, of The Secret Garden, along with what looks like an entire series of illustrated classics. These look really old, Sophie whispers, handling the books as they might disintegrate. They are, and valuable. But books are meant to be read, not locked away. Dante glances at me, and I'm too shocked to do anything but stare. Your mom told me you love stories. These are some of my favorites from when I was young. You read these when you were little? Some of them. Others belong to my mother. She loved books too. Something sad crosses his face. She would have liked meeting someone else who understood their magic. Sophie looks at me again, and I see the question in her eyes. Is this okay? Can I love this? I nod, even though I have no idea what I'm agreeing to. The restaurant isn't in Manhattan. We drive to Long Island, to a small Italian place on the water that doesn't look like much from the outside, but glows with warm light and the smell of garlic and homemade bread. A man greets Dante at the door with a hug and rapid Italian I can't follow. Emma, Sophie, this is Marco. He's been making the best pasta in New York for 40 years. Dante guides us inside. Marco, these are my guests. Treat them like family. For you, Dante, always. Marco winks at Sophie. And for you, Piccola, I make something special, yes? We're led to a private room in the back, overlooking the water. The table is set for 3 with flowers, purple irises I notice, and candles that cast everything in soft gold light. "This is really pretty," Sophie breathes, and I realize she's never been anywhere like this. Neither have I, really. Not since before the divorce, when Michael and I used to pretend we could afford romance. Dinner is revelatory. Not just the food, though the homemade ravioli, the fresh bread, and the dessert that makes Sophie's eyes roll back in her head are all extraordinary. I'm watching Dante with my daughter. He asks her about her favorite books. Really asks, not the performative interest adults usually show children. He wants to know what she likes about specific characters, which plot twists surprised her, and whether she prefers happy endings or complicated ones. "I like happy endings," Sophie says through a mouthful of tiramisu, "but only if the characters earn them. If they just get happy because the book is ending, that's cheating." Agreed. Happiness without struggle isn't really happiness. It's just luck. Dante glances at me when he says this. Real happiness requires risk, requires choosing it even when it's terrifying. Sophie nods thoughtfully, like they're discussing philosophy instead of middle-grade fiction. "Do you have kids?" she asks suddenly. "Sophie," I start to reprimand her, but Dante holds up a hand. "It's all right. No, I don't have children. I've never found the right person to have them with." He's still looking at me. "I always thought if I had a daughter, I'd want her to be like you. Smart, brave, someone who values books and asks hard questions." Sophie beams. My heart does something complicated in my chest. After dinner, Dante suggests a walk along the beach. It's October and chilly, so he produces a blanket from the car, of course he does, and wraps it around Sophie's shoulders. She walks between us, holding both our hands, chattering about a school project on ocean ecosystems. "Mom doesn't like the beach," she announces. "She says sand gets everywhere and stays forever." "Your mom is practical. That's a good quality." Dante squeezes my hand. "But sometimes impractical things are worth the mess they create." We reach a point where the beach curves away from the restaurant, becoming more private. Sophie spots something in the water, probably a fish, maybe her imagination, and runs ahead to investigate, still wrapped in the blanket. "You're good with her," I say quietly. "She's easy to be good with. She's smart, real, like her mother." Dante hasn't released my hand. "Does she see her father often?" "Not as much as she should. He makes plans and then cancels, or forgets, or gets busy with his new life." The bitterness creeps back in. "I've stopped making excuses for him to her. Kids are smart. They know when they're not a priority." "What does she know about tonight? About me?" "That you're a friend who invited us to dinner." I glance at him. "I don't introduce her to people I'm dating. Not that we're dating. I mean, this is just..." "Emma." He stops walking and turns to face me fully. "Stop doing that. Stop minimizing this before it has a chance to become something. I can't afford for this to be something, not with Sophie. If she gets attached and you disappear..." "I don't disappear." His voice is quiet but firm. "When I commit to something, I commit. When I tell someone they matter, they matter. I don't play games, Emma. Life is too short, and I've lost too much to waste time on things that don't mean something." "You can't know after one day." "I know." He reaches up, tucking a strand of hair behind my ear. "I knew the moment I saw you sitting alone in that restaurant, waiting for someone who didn't deserve your time. I knew when you touched your daughter's bracelet and your whole face softened. I knew when you apologized for where you live because you thought it would matter to me. Some things are immediate, Emma. The question isn't whether I know. The question is whether you're brave enough to know it too." Before I can respond, before I can process what he's saying, Sophie comes running back, breathless and excited. Mom! There's a whole family of crabs, like 10 of them! Can we take one home, please?" "No, baby, they need to stay with their family." "But what if one of them wants to come with us? What if it's lonely? Dante crouches down again. The thing about family, Sophie, is that even when you leave, they're still with you. The crab might look lonely, but its family is always part of it. That never goes away. Sophie considers this. Is that why you don't have kids? Because your family is still with you? Yes, he says. My mother died when I was young, but she's still with me every day. Every choice I make, I think about what she would want me to do. My dad's not dead, but he's kind of gone. Sophie says it matter-of-factly, as if she's reporting the weather. Is that the same thing? I freeze. Dante doesn't. No, Piccola. That's harder. Because when someone is gone by choice, it makes you question yourself. Makes you think maybe you weren't enough to make them stay. He glances up at me, then back to Sophie. But that's wrong. When adults make bad choices, it's never the child's fault. Never. Sophie is quiet for a moment. Then, will you make bad choices? Everyone makes bad choices sometimes, but I promise you this. If I make a choice that affects you or your mom, it will be because I thought hard about it. Not because I forgot. Not because something better came along. And definitely not because either of you weren't enough. My throat is so tight I can barely breathe. Sophie nods, apparently satisfied, and runs back toward the water. You can't promise her things like that, I managed to say. Why not? Because what if you can't keep them? What if whatever this is, doesn't work out? What if she gets hurt? What if it does work out? He stands, facing me fully. What if I can keep them? What if the only person who gets hurt is you, because you're too afraid to try? I have to protect her. From what? From someone who actually shows up? From consistency? From someone who looks at her like she matters? His voice sharpens slightly. Emma, you're not protecting her from pain. You're teaching her that hope is dangerous, that caring about people is a risk not worth taking. The words hit like a physical blow because they're true. Because I've been so focused on preventing Sophie from experiencing what I did, I've forgotten to show her that good things are possible too. I'm scared, I whisper. Good. You should be. This is terrifying. He takes both my hands now. But do it anyway. Be scared with me. See what happens when two people are honest about what they want. What do you want? You, Sophie, this, all of it. He says it like it's the simplest thing in the world. I want Saturday nights with 8-year-olds who ask complicated questions. I want Sunday mornings making pancakes. I want someone to come home to who looks at me like I'm human instead of useful. I want to matter to someone the way you clearly matter to your daughter. That's a lot to want after one day. Then it's fortunate we have more days ahead of us. He leans in, his forehead touching mine. Say yes, Emma. Not forever. Not with certainty. Just to see where this goes. Sophie is making sandcastles now, talking to herself, or maybe the crabs, or perhaps the universe. The water laps at the shore. Dante's hands are warm around mine. Yes, I hear myself say. Okay, yes. His smile is devastating. Good. Now let's go rescue your daughter before she actually convinces herself she can domesticate a crab. We walk back toward Sophie, and something fundamental shifts. The space between possibility and reality narrows. I'm still terrified, but for the first time in 2 years, I'm also hopeful. Maybe that's enough to start with. The following week unfolds in a pattern I didn't expect but somehow need. Dante texts me every morning, just simple things. Good morning, Bella. Hope your students aren't too chaotic today. Sophie's book club pick arrived. Should I drop it off or wait until Saturday? We fall into a rhythm. Dinners on weekends when I don't have Sophie. Small, intimate places where Dante seems to know everyone, and everyone treats me like I'm someone important. Lunches during my break when he's in Brooklyn for business. Phone calls late at night after Sophie is asleep. Conversations that stretch for hours about everything and nothing. He's integrating into our life so seamlessly that it terrifies me. Sophie talks about him constantly. Dante says. Dante thinks. Dante promised we could. She's collecting these moments like precious stones, building something I'm afraid to name. On Thursday, Riley corners me in the teacher's lounge. Okay, spill. Who is he? And why haven't I met him? She's practically vibrating with curiosity. You've been different all week, smiling at your phone, wearing actual makeup. What happened to my perpetually single, martyred best friend? I met someone, I admit, knowing there's no point in deflecting. Riley has radar for this kind of thing. The accountant? I thought you said he stood you up. He did. Someone else happened. Someone else happened? Her eyes go wide. At the restaurant? Emma Chen, did you pick up a random man at Carmichael's? He approached me. And he's not random. He's... How do I explain Dante to someone who's never felt the way he makes me feel? He's complicated. Complicated how? Is he married? Secretly broke? A serial killer? None of those things. He just exists in a different world than I do. He owns restaurants, has money, lives a life that doesn't really make sense with mine. And yet you're smiling. So clearly something makes sense. Riley sits down next to me, her expression softening. Emma, you deserve this. You deserve someone who makes you smile at your phone. Stop looking for reasons to sabotage it. But I can't help looking for reasons. It's how I've survived the past 2 years, by preparing for the worst, by never letting hope get too big. Friday afternoon, I'm leaving school when I spot the black SUV parked across the street. My heart does that complicated thing it's been doing all week. Fear and anticipation mixed into something that makes it hard to breathe normally. Dante leans against the passenger side, looking like an advertisement for expensive everything. Several of my colleagues do visible double takes as they pass. You're here, I say, stating the obvious. I had business in Brooklyn. Thought I'd see if you wanted a ride home. He opens the door for me. Unless that's too presumptuous. It's very presumptuous, but I'm already getting in. We drive toward my apartment, stuck in typical Friday traffic. Dante seems content just being near me, which is unnerving because I'm not used to people wanting my presence without needing something from it. Have you heard from Sophie's father? He asks suddenly. Not since he canceled last weekend. Why? Because Sophie mentioned to Marco that her birthday party is next month and her dad promised to come, but she doesn't think he will. Dante's jaw tightens slightly. She was trying to sound casual about it, but 8-year-olds are terrible liars. Something clenches in my chest. She didn't tell me that. Because she knows it would hurt you, so she's carrying it alone. He glances at me. Emma, I need to ask you something, and you're not going to like it. Okay. If he doesn't show up for her birthday, and we both know there's a strong chance he won't, can I be there? Not as a replacement, not trying to be something I'm not, just as someone who showed up because she matters. The question lands like a physical thing. Dante, that's too much, too fast. I know. But I also know what it's like to have people make promises they don't keep. And I know that the people who show up, really show up, are the ones you remember. I want to be someone Sophie remembers for the right reasons. We're stopped at a red light. I turn to look at him thoroughly. Why? Why do you care so much about my daughter? You barely know her. Because she's part of you. Because the way you love her tells me everything I need to know about who you are. Because I was 8 years old once, and my father didn't show up for important things, and I remember. His voice roughens slightly. I remember, Emma, and I can't stand the thought of Sophie remembering that same feeling. You're going to break my heart, I whisper. Both of our hearts. Because this is too good. Men like you don't exist in lives like mine. Eventually you'll realize we're too much work, or too complicated, or just too different. And you'll disappear. And she'll be devastated. I'm not disappearing. He reaches across the console, taking my hand. Emma, I need you to hear this. Really hear it. I am not disappearing. I don't know how to make you believe that except by staying, by showing up, by being here day after day until you finally accept that this is real. The light turns green. We drive in silence for several blocks. My ex-husband said the same thing, I finally say. When we got married, when Sophie was born, he said he'd always be there, and then he wasn't. I'm not your ex-husband. I know that intellectually, but emotionally, I'm terrified. I look out the window, watching Brooklyn slide past. Do you know what it's like to rebuild yourself after someone you loved completely tears you apart? To look at your daughter and see parts of someone who destroyed you? To wake up every morning and actively choose to keep going because giving up isn't an option when someone depends on you? Yes. His answer is quiet but confident. I do know, because I watched my mother do exactly that after my father left. She rebuilt herself piece by piece while raising me and my sister. She showed up every day even when she was falling apart. She chose us over her pain every single morning for 15 years until the cancer took her. I look at him sharply. You never mentioned a sister. Isabella. She was 4 years younger than me. She died in the same accident that took my father when I was 20. His voice has gone flat, emotionless. The tone of someone who's told this story enough times that the edges have worn smooth. Drunk driver. Wrong place, wrong time. She was 16. Dante, I'm so sorry. It was a long time ago. But it's why I don't make promises lightly. It's why when I tell you I'm staying, I mean it. Because I know what it costs to lose people. And I know what it means to be someone people can rely on. He pulls up to my building. I'm not asking you to trust me blindly, Emma. I'm asking you to let me earn it, day by day, choice by choice. We sit in the car for a long moment. Finally, I squeeze his hand. Okay. Sophie's birthday is November 17th. If Michael doesn't show, I'll be there. What does she want? What can I get her? Dante, you already gave her a fortune in books. What does she want? His tone is gentle but insistent. She's been asking for a desk, her own space to write stories and draw, but they're expensive, and I've been saving. Done. What else? You can't just buy her a desk. Emma. He turns to face me fully. Let me do this. Let me be someone who shows up with the things she needs. Not to buy her affection. Not to replace anyone. Just because she matters. Because you both matter. My eyes are burning. You're impossible. I'm possible. That's what terrifies you. He leans in, and for a moment I think he's going to kiss me. Instead, he brushes his lips against my forehead, soft and reverent. I'll pick up Sophie from school tomorrow. You have that parent-teacher thing that runs late, right? How did you know about that? Because you mentioned it 3 days ago, and I pay attention. I'll take her for pizza and drop her home by 7. Text me if you need me to keep her later. You don't have to. I want to. Stop arguing about people wanting to help you. It's exhausting and insulting. But he's smiling when he says it. I get out of the car feeling unsteady, like the ground beneath me has fundamentally shifted. Dante waits until I'm inside the building before driving away. Upstairs, Mia has Sophie working on homework at our tiny kitchen table. How was school, baby? Good. We learned about fractions. And Mrs. Peterson said my story about the lost dragon was the best in class. Sophie bounces in her seat. Oh, and Dante texted. He said he's picking me up tomorrow after school. Is that okay? He texted you? I look at Mia, who shrugs. He got my number from the school directory, Sophie says casually. He asked if it was okay first. I said yes because you're always late on Fridays because of the meetings. My 8-year-old daughter has given my, whatever Dante is, her phone number. They're making plans without me. This should panic me. Instead, it feels like relief. Maybe that's what trust looks like. Perhaps it's letting someone else carry part of the weight you've been bearing alone for so long. Saturday, Sophie comes home from her afternoon with Dante, carrying a pizza box and talking a mile a minute about the aquarium they visited. Mom, we saw sharks. And Dante knows everything about marine biology. Did you know that some sharks have to keep swimming or they'll die? And there was this one called a hammerhead that looks like its head is literally a hammer. Sounds like you had fun. The best. Dante said maybe we can go to the Natural History Museum next time. Can we, Mom? Please? Next time. Like this is now an established pattern in our lives. We'll see, baby. Did you thank him? Like 100 times. He also said he might have a surprise for my birthday. But he wouldn't tell me what. She's vibrating with excitement. Do you know what it is? No idea, but I can guess and it makes my chest tight. That night, after Sophie is asleep, Dante calls. She's easy, he says without preamble. Easy to make happy, easy to talk to, easy to care about. You sound surprised. I've never spent time with kids before, not like this. I expected it to be awkward or forced. But with Sophie, it's not. She's just herself, unfiltered and real and funny. She likes you too, talks about you constantly. Good, because I'm planning to be around for a while. He pauses. Emma, I need to tell you something. About who I am. What I do. My stomach drops. Okay. You asked once about my world. About the business beyond restaurants. I told you I deal in discretion. In things that require certain handling. I remember. My family has been involved in certain enterprises in New York for 3 generations. Legitimate businesses, yes. But also operations that exist in gray areas. Not illegal exactly, but not strictly legal either. Imports, territory agreements, protection services. He's choosing his words carefully. People call what we do organized crime, though I prefer to think of it as organized business. I should be shocked, horrified. But somehow I'm not. Maybe I knew on some level. Perhaps the pieces were always there. The deference from people, the security, the way he talked about territory and families and codes. Are you in danger? Is what I ask. Sometimes. Less than you'd think. More than I'd like, given the current circumstances. Current circumstances meaning us. Meaning you and Sophie becoming important to me. Meaning I now have vulnerabilities that didn't exist 3 weeks ago. His voice is steady but serious. Emma, I need you to understand what you're getting into. There are people, rivals, competitors, those who would use anything or anyone to gain advantage. I've taken precautions. Security measures you haven't noticed but that are always there. But this life, my life, it comes with risks. Are you telling me to walk away? I'm telling you that you should walk away. That the smart, safe choice is to end this now before Sophie gets more attached. Before you get more invested. He takes a breath. But I'm also telling you that I don't want you to. That I'll do everything in my power to keep you both safe. That this, whatever we're building, matters more to me than anything has in a very long time. I think about the past 3 weeks. The way Sophie lights up when she talks about Dante. The way I've started imagining futures instead of just surviving presents. The way my apartment feels emptier on days I don't see him. I should be terrified, I say quietly. But you're not? Oh, I am. Just not for the reasons you think. I pull my knees up to my chest on the couch. I'm terrified of how quickly this is happening. How easily you've become part of our lives. How much it would hurt if you left. I'm not leaving. You keep saying that. Because it keeps being true. Emma, I've spent my entire adult life being careful. Not letting people close. Not giving anyone the power to hurt me. And then you walked into my restaurant. Well, sat in it waiting for someone else. And every careful wall I'd built just dissolved. That's dramatic. It's accurate. You're dangerous, Emma Chen. You and your brilliant daughter and your ridiculous independence and your belief that accepting help is somehow failure. His voice softens. Let me in. All the way. Stop holding back pieces of yourself because you're afraid I'll mishandle them. What if you do? Then I'll apologize and fix it and do better. That's what people who care about each other do. They mess up. They repair. They keep trying. We talked for another hour about nothing and everything. Sophie's upcoming birthday, a difficult parent at his restaurant, my struggles with a student who's clearly dealing with something at home, everyday things, domestic things, the kind of conversation people have when they're building something real. When we finally hang up, it's past midnight. I lie on my pull-out couch, staring at the ceiling, and admit to myself what I've been avoiding for 3 weeks. I'm falling in love with Dante Salvatore. Maybe I've already lost. Perhaps I was always going to. The question is whether I'm brave enough to let myself land. The following 2 weeks pass in a blur of what feels dangerously like routine. Dante picks up Sophie from school twice more. Takes us to small family-run places where the owners greet him like family. Shows up at my apartment on Wednesday with groceries because he happened to be nearby and noticed my fridge was nearly empty. "You can't just show up with groceries," I protest, even as I'm helping him put things away. "Why not?" "Because it's too much. Because I can handle my own grocery shopping. Because accepting help means admitting you can't do everything alone." He closes the refrigerator and turns to face me. "Emma, being independent doesn't mean refusing all assistance. It means knowing when to ask for it." "I didn't ask." "You didn't have to. I pay attention." He's standing close now, close enough that I can smell his cologne, something expensive and woody that makes me think of security and warmth. "When was the last time someone took care of you?" "I don't need taking care of." That's not what I asked. His hand comes up, tucking hair behind my ear in that gesture that's becoming familiar. Everyone needs taking care of sometimes. Even strong, independent single mothers who think accepting help is weakness. Before I can argue, before I can push back against this uncomfortable truth, his phone rings. He glances at it, and something in his expression shifts. "I need to take this." He steps into my small bathroom, closing the door. I can hear his voice, low and intense, speaking rapid Italian. When he emerges 5 minutes later, his face is carefully neutral. "I have to go. Business." He kisses my forehead, quick and distracted. "I'll call you tomorrow." "Dante, what?" But he's already leaving, and I'm left standing in my apartment full of groceries I didn't buy, wondering what just happened. He doesn't call the next day, or the day after. My texts go unanswered. By Thursday, I'm convinced I was right all along. This was too good, too intense, too impossible. He came to his senses. He realized we were too much work. Sophie notices. "Why isn't Dante answering your texts?" "He's busy with work, baby. But he always answers. Even when he's busy, he always answers." Her face crumples slightly. "Did I do something wrong?" "No. God, no, Sophie. This has nothing to do with you." I pull her into a hug, furious at Dante for making her doubt herself. Sometimes adults have complicated things happening that have nothing to do with kids. But I don't believe my own words. Because Dante promised. He promised he wouldn't disappear. And now it's been 4 days of silence. On Friday afternoon, I'm leaving school when another car pulls up. Not Dante's black SUV. A gray sedan with tinted windows. A man gets out. Younger than Dante. Stocky, with the kind of face that's seen things. "Ms. Chen, I'm Marco Santoro. I work with Dante. He asked me to speak with you." Every muscle in my body tenses. "Where is he?" "Safe. But he's handling a situation. Asked me to make sure you and Sophie are protected while he deals with it." "Protected from what?" Marco looks uncomfortable. "There's a rival organization making moves. They know about you, about your daughter. Dante's making sure they understand you're off limits. But until that's settled, he wants security on you." "Security, like bodyguards?" "Discreet. You won't even notice us, but we'll be there." He hands me a phone. This is a direct line to Dante. He can't use his regular phone right now, but he wanted you to have a way to reach him. I take the phone with shaking hands. "Is he in danger?" "He's Dante Salvatore. Danger is relative." Marco's face softens slightly. "For what it's worth, I've worked for him for 8 years. I've never seen him like this about anyone. You matter to him. That's why he's being careful. After Marco leaves, I stare at the phone for a long time. Finally, I dial the only number programmed into it. Dante answers on the first ring. Emma. Just my name, but there's so much relief in it. What's going on? I demand. You disappear for 4 days. Send someone to tell me I need protection. Give me a burner phone like we're in a spy movie. I know, I'm sorry. This wasn't... He stops. Starts again. A situation escalated. People found out about you and Sophie. Made implications about what they might do to hurt me through you. I couldn't let that stand. So what are you doing? Making it clear that you're protected. That anyone who even thinks about touching either of you will regret it permanently. His voice is cold in a way I haven't heard before. I'm handling it, Emma. But it's taking longer than I anticipated. Sophie thinks she did something wrong. Thinks you're avoiding us. Fuck! I hear something crash in the background. Let me talk to her. Put her on. She's at aftercare. Won't be home for another hour. Then I'll call in an hour. Emma, listen to me. This doesn't change anything between us. This is me protecting what matters. Do you understand? I understand that your world is bleeding into mine, and my 8-year-old is now apparently a target for organized crime. She's not a target. I made sure of that. But yes, my world is complicated. I told you that from the beginning. I gave you the chance to walk away. And now? Am I supposed to walk away now? Take Sophie and run because someone made threats? No, you're supposed to trust me. Trust that I can handle this. Trust that I meant what I said about keeping you safe. His voice softens. Please, Bella. Trust me. I think about the past month, about how he's shown up, consistently, reliably, about the way he looks at Sophie, about the security measures. I didn't notice them, but they were always there. Okay, I say quietly. But you call Sophie in an hour. Explain to her that this isn't about her. Promise her you're coming back. I promise, 1 hour. Dante keeps his promise. That night, he video calls Sophie and spends 20 minutes explaining that he has crucial work to do, but that he thinks about her every day. He's definitely coming to her birthday party. That he's sorry he's been unavailable. Sophie accepts this with better grace than I do. Children are resilient that way. Or maybe she's just learning to lower her expectations, which breaks my heart. The security Marco mentioned is invisible but present. I notice now, the same cars in different locations. The man reading a newspaper who's been on my subway car for 3 days in a row. The woman at the coffee shop who always leaves when I do. It should feel invasive. Instead, it feels strangely safe. A week later, Dante shows up at my door unannounced. He looks exhausted. Dark circles under his eyes, jaw tight with tension. But when I open the door, his whole face softens. Is Sophie asleep? Yes, it's 10 p.m. Of course she's asleep. Good. He steps inside, closes the door, and pulls me into his arms. Just holds me, his face buried in my hair, breathing like he's been underwater and just surfaced. Are you okay? I ask against his chest. I am now. God, I missed you. His arms tighten around me. Emma, I'm sorry for disappearing, for the phone and the security and all of it. But it's over. The situation is resolved. Resolved how? In a way that makes it clear you and Sophie are permanent fixtures in my life, and that anyone who has a problem with that is welcome to take it up with me directly. He pulls back to look at me. No one's going to touch you. I made sure of it. How? You don't want those details. Maybe I do. He studies my face for a long moment. I met with the people making threats. Explained that you were under my protection. Made it clear, very clear, what would happen if anyone so much as looked at you wrong. Then I negotiated territorial agreements that give them what they actually wanted, which wasn't you. You were just leverage. Now they have better leverage. What kind of leverage? The kind that doesn't involve threatening the woman I love and her daughter. The words hang in the air between us. The woman I love. He said it so casually, like it's a fact rather than a devastating confession. Dante, I know it's fast. I know you're not ready to hear it. But I'm tired of pretending this is casual or exploratory or whatever we've been calling it. He cups my face in both hands. I love you, Emma. I love Sophie. I love how you put hot sauce on everything, and how you fall asleep during movies, and how you keep every drawing Sophie makes like it's museum-quality art. I love that you're terrified but brave anyway. I love that you make me want to be someone worthy of that bravery. My eyes are burning. You can't just... I can. I am. And you don't have to say it back. You don't have to feel the same way. But I needed you to know. I needed you to understand why I disappeared, why I took those risks. Because losing you, either of you, isn't an option I'm willing to consider. I should be scared, should be building walls. I should be protecting myself from the inevitable moment when this falls apart. But standing in my shabby apartment with this impossible man who somehow sees me clearly and loves me anyway, I can't find the fear. I love you too, I whisper. I've been trying not to, trying to convince myself this was temporary. But I love you, even though it terrifies me. His smile is radiant. Good. Be terrified with me. We'll figure it out together. He kisses me then, and it's different from the careful, respectful touches we've shared before. This is claiming, promising, offering everything and asking for everything in return. When we finally break apart, both breathing hard, he rests his forehead against mine. Sophie's birthday is in 3 days, he says. The desk is already built and in my car. I may have also purchased approximately 50 more books. And a telescope because she mentioned once that she wanted to see the stars better. Dante, you can't... I can. I will. Stop arguing with me about wanting to give you things. Both of you. It's not going to work. You're impossible. I'm possible. That's the whole point. He kisses me again, softer this time. Now, am I staying? Or do I need to be appropriate and leave? You should leave. Sophie will be up early, and she'll have questions. Questions I'm happy to answer, but I'll go, for now. He moves toward the door, then turns back. Emma? Yeah? Thank you for trusting me, for not running when things got complicated, for loving me back even though it scares you. Don't make me regret it. Never. After he leaves, I sit on my pull-out couch for a long time, touching my lips where his were, feeling like my life just fundamentally reorganized itself. Maybe that's what love is. Perhaps it's letting someone else change your world entirely, and trusting that the change is for the better. Sophie's birthday arrives on a Saturday that feels more like the beginning of everything than just another year older. The morning starts chaotically. I'm up at 6 a.m. decorating our small apartment with purple streamers, Sophie's favorite color, and trying to bake a cake from scratch because store-bought feels too impersonal for an 8-year-old. The cake is lopsided. Definitely lopsided. But it's made with love, which has to count for something. My phone buzzes at 7:15. Dante. Happy birthday to Sophie. I'm outside with her present. Should I wait or come up? Me. She's still asleep. Give me 20 minutes. Dante, I'll get coffee. Want your usual? The fact that he knows my usual, large coffee, light cream, no sugar, makes my chest warm in a way that has nothing to do with caffeine. At 7:30, there's a gentle knock. I open the door to find Dante holding 2 coffees and looking unfairly suitable for this early on a Saturday. Behind him, Marco and another man I don't recognize are maneuvering something large and flat, wrapped in blankets up my narrow stairwell. What is that? I whisper, trying not to wake Sophie. The desk. I had it custom built. He hands me my coffee, then kisses my forehead like it's the most natural thing in the world. Morning, Bella. You have frosting in your hair. I reach up mortified, and sure enough, there's blue frosting tangled in my hair. I was decorating. It's adorable. He's already moving past me, directing Marco and the other man, introduced as Luca, on where to set up the desk. Dante, my living room is 12 feet by 10 feet. Where exactly are we putting a desk? We're rearranging, trust me. For the next 45 minutes, 3 grown men reorganize my entire living space with surprising efficiency. The pull-out couch gets pushed against the opposite wall. My small bookshelf moves to create a corner nook by the window. And the desk, a beautiful piece of dark wood with built-in shelves, a reading lamp, and multiple drawers, fits perfectly in the space they've created. It's gorgeous, I breathe, running my hand over the smooth surface. But Dante, this is too much. This must have cost... Don't. He catches my hand. We're not doing that. Sophie deserves a space that honors her creativity. That's all that matters. Marco and Luca quietly excuse themselves, leaving us alone in my transformed living room. Dante pulls out boxes. So many boxes. Please tell me those aren't all presents. Okay, I won't tell you. But his smile is unrepentant. There are books. A telescope because she mentioned wanting to see stars better. A laptop for her writing. Art supplies and... He produces a small wrapped box. This one's special. I want to give it to her myself. Before I can ask what's in it, Sophie's door opens. Mom? Why are there voices? Oh my God! She's frozen in her doorway, staring at the desk with her mouth open. Is that real? Is that really here? Happy birthday, baby. I'm already tearing up because her face is pure joy. Sophie. Dante crouches down. Every writer needs a proper workspace, somewhere magical where stories are born. This is yours. She doesn't run to the desk. She runs to Dante, throwing her arms around his neck with such force that he nearly topples backward. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is the best present ever in the history of presents. You haven't even seen what's in the drawers yet. He's hugging her back, and I notice his eyes are suspiciously bright. Go explore. Sophie tears into the desk like it's Christmas morning. Each drawer reveals new treasures, expensive journals, colored pencils in every shade imaginable, a leather bookmark with her initials, and sticky notes in the shapes of stars and moons. Dante, this is... She's touching everything reverently. This is too much. Nothing is too much for you, Piccola. He glances at me. Either of you. The rest of the morning is a blur of preparation. Riley arrives with her kids, Mason and Olivia, whom Sophie tolerates because friendship requires occasional sacrifice. Other parents drop off their school friends at Sophie's school. My small apartment fills with 8-year-olds hopped up on birthday excitement and the promise of cake. Dante handles it all with surprising grace. He organizes games, settles disputes over musical chairs with the wisdom of a diplomat, helps a shy boy named Tommy, who's overwhelmed by the noise. Acts like being surrounded by screaming children is exactly where he wants to be. He's really good at this, Riley observes, watching Dante referee an intense game of freeze dance. Like, suspiciously good. Are you sure he's never had kids? He says not. But he has a nephew. Had a nephew. His sister died when she was 16. The tragedy still makes my throat tight. I think he would have been an amazing father. He still can be. You know that, right? Riley gives me a knowing look. Emma, that man is clearly in this for the long haul. The question is whether you're going to let yourself believe it. Before I can respond, the doorbell rings. I open it to find Michael standing there, holding a wrapped present that's clearly from a generic toy store, looking distinctly uncomfortable in a button-down shirt he probably hasn't worn since our divorce proceedings. Michael, you came. I can't keep the surprise out of my voice. Of course I came. She's my daughter. But his eyes are already scanning past me into the apartment, and I see the moment he spots Dante. His jaw tightens. Quite a crowd. Dad! Sophie appears, face lighting up in that way that makes my chest ache. No matter how many times he disappoints her, she still wants his approval, his presence, and his love. Hey kiddo, happy birthday. He hugs her, and to his credit, it seems genuine. Wow, you're getting so big. I'm 8 now. That's basically grown up. She's pulling him inside, chattering about her party, her friends, her new desk. His expression darkens when he sees the desk. That's new. Dante got it for me. It's custom made with my initials and everything. Look. She's showing him every detail, oblivious to the tension radiating off both men. Dante approaches, extending his hand. Michael, good to see you. Michael looks at the hand for a long moment before shaking it. Dante, I've heard a lot about you. I imagine you have. Sophie talks about you too. Dante's voice is perfectly polite, but there's steel underneath. She was worried you wouldn't make it. Why wouldn't I make it? I'm her father. Are you? The words slip out before I can stop them. Both men turn to look at me. Sorry, I just meant you've canceled the last 3 times you were supposed to see her, so she wasn't sure. Michael's face flushes. I've been busy with work. You know how demanding the firm is. Right. Work. Dante's tone is neutral, but his eyes are not. Must be incredibly demanding to require canceling on your daughter's birthday party. What kind of law do you practice again? Corporate. Mergers and acquisitions. Michael straightens, clearly trying to establish some dominance. And you? Sophie mentioned you own restaurants? Among other things. Other things. Michael's smile doesn't reach his eyes. That's deliberately vague. I prefer discreet. The testosterone is so thick I could choke on it. Sophie, meanwhile, has abandoned both of them to show her friends the telescope Dante brought. Michael, there's cake in the kitchen if you want some. I gesture desperately, trying to diffuse whatever this is becoming. And pizza should be here in 20 minutes. He doesn't move. That's quite an elaborate setup for an 8-year-old. The desk alone must have cost thousands. Seems excessive. Seems appropriate, Dante counters smoothly. Sophie has genuine talent. Nurturing that requires proper tools. And you're an expert on child development? I'm an expert on recognizing potential and investing in it. Something you might understand if you spent more than 3 hours a month with your daughter. The air crackles with hostility. I step between them, lowering my voice. Not here. Not at her party. He started it, Michael mutters, sounding exactly like one of the 8-year-olds currently destroying my living room. Actually, you started it the moment you criticized my gift. Dante's voice is quiet but lethal. Emma asked me to help make Sophie's birthday special because you've canceled on her repeatedly. I'm doing that. If you have a problem with how I care for them, take it up with me privately, not here. How do you care for them? Michael's laugh is bitter. You've known them for what, 6 weeks? You don't get to act like you're part of this family. I've been here more in 6 weeks than you've been here in 6 months. Dante takes a step forward. I know Sophie's favorite book series. I know Emma takes her coffee with light cream. I know Sophie is allergic to shellfish, and that Tuesdays are hard because it's the day you used to pick her up before you stopped showing up. I know these things because I pay attention. Because I'm present. Because I actually give a damn. Dante! I reach for his arm, but he's locked onto Michael like a predator who's found prey. You walked away from them. From a brilliant daughter and a woman who deserved better than your excuses. You don't get to walk back in and act threatened when someone else does what you refuse to do. His voice drops even lower. You don't get to make Sophie feel like she has to choose between us. She shouldn't have to choose. You should just be here. Michael's face has gone red. Who the hell do you think you are? I'm the person who will be here tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after that. I'm the person who will show up to school plays and parent-teacher conferences and birthday parties without making excuses. I'm the person they deserve. Dante's eyes are black fire. The question is, who are you? I'm her father. Michael's voice rises, and suddenly the party noise stops. Kids are staring. Parents are pretending not to listen. Sophie is watching with wide, terrified eyes. Stop. My voice cuts through the tension. Both of you, outside, now. I grab both their arms and practically drag them into the hallway, closing my apartment door behind us. The narrow space feels suffocating with 3 people, and this much anger. What is wrong with you? I hiss at both of them. This is Sophie's birthday, her day, and you're both making it about your egos? He insulted my parenting, Michael starts. You barely parent. I whirl on him, 2 years of suppressed frustration exploding. You cancel plans. You forget to call. You show up when convenient and disappear when it's hard. Dante isn't wrong about any of that. Michael flinches as I slap him. And you. I turn to Dante. You don't get to ambush him at Sophie's party. You don't get to throw his failures in his face in front of everyone. That's not your place. Someone needs to say it. Maybe. But not here. Not now. Not like this. My hands are shaking. Sophie is in there wondering if her birthday is ruined because the adults in her life can't control themselves. She's wondering if this is her fault. 8-year-olds always think everything is their fault. Both men have the grace to look ashamed. Michael, do you actually want to be here? I ask quietly. Or did you come out of guilt? He's quiet for a long moment. Then, I came because I should. Because I'm supposed to. Because... He runs his hand through his hair. Because I don't know how to be her father anymore, Emma. I don't know how to fit into her life when I built a new one that doesn't include her the way it should. The honesty is surprising and heartbreaking. Then figure it out, or don't. But stop doing this halfway thing where you show up just enough to keep her hoping, but not enough to actually be present. It's cruel. My voice breaks. She deserves better. She deserves all the way in or all the way out. Not this limbo where she's constantly waiting for you to choose her. Michael looks at me, then at Dante, then back at me. You're serious about him? About this? Yes. And he's serious about Sophie? Yes. Dante answers before I can. I love her. I love Emma. I'm not going anywhere. Michael nods slowly. Then he does something I don't expect. He extends his hand to Dante. Take care of them. Better than I did. Dante stares at the offered hand. I'm not replacing you. Sophie needs her father. But she needs a version of you that actually shows up. Can you be that person? I don't know. Maybe. Probably not consistently. Michael's voice is raw. But you're right. They deserve better than what I've given. If you can provide that, then... Good. That's good. They shake hands and something shifts. An acknowledgement. Or a passing of responsibility. I don't know which. I should go, Michael says. Tell Sophie I'm sorry. Tell her I'll call her this week and actually call her this week. You tell her yourself, I say firmly. 2 minutes. You go in there, you apologize for the tension, you tell her you love her, and you make a plan to see her again. An actual plan with a date and time. Can you do that? He nods and goes back inside. Through the door, I hear him find Sophie, hear his quiet apology, and listen to him promise to take her to the museum next weekend. A specific day, a particular time. When he leaves 5 minutes later, Sophie hugs him goodbye with less desperation than usual. Like maybe she's learning that love doesn't have to mean anxiety. After the door closes behind Michael, Dante pulls me into his arms. I'm sorry. You were right. That wasn't the time or place. You weren't wrong, though, about any of it. Being right doesn't mean I handled it well. He kisses the top of my head. I see how much his inconsistency hurts you both, and it makes me irrationally angry. It's not irrational, it's protective, but we have to find better ways to handle it. Agreed. Next time I'll wait until Sophie isn't in the room before I eviscerate her father. There's not going to be a next time. Emma. He pulls back to look at me. There will absolutely be a next time. Michael is who he is. We just have to decide how we handle it together. Together. The word settles into my chest like a promise. The party continues with marginally less tension. Sophie opens presents, thoughtful gifts from friends, and the telescope from Dante that she immediately insists we set up, despite it being the middle of the day. Riley orchestrates games with the efficiency of someone who's survived multiple birthday parties. Finally, at 4 p.m., the last parent picks up the last child. My apartment looks like a tornado hit it, but Sophie is glowing with happiness. Best birthday ever, she announces, collapsing dramatically on the couch. Even with the dad drama? I sit beside her, pulling her close. Dad was here. That's what matters. And he apologized. And he promised to take me to the museum. She looks up at me with those two wise eyes. He won't, though. Not really. But it was nice that he tried. My heart breaks for her casual acceptance of disappointment. Baby. It's okay, Mom. I have you. And now I have Dante. And my new desk and all these books and the telescope. I don't need Dad to be perfect. I just need people who actually want to be here. She shifts to look at Dante, who's been quietly cleaning up in the kitchen. Dante wants to be here, I can tell. How can you tell? Because he doesn't check his phone when he's talking to me. Because he remembers things I tell him. Because when he promises something, he does it. She says it so simply, these metrics of love that an 8-year-old has already learned to measure. That's how you know someone really cares. They just stay. Dante has stopped cleaning and is watching us, his expression unreadable. You're very smart, Piccola, he says quietly. Your mom raised you well. We raised each other, Sophie corrects. After Dad left, we figured it out together. Right, Mom? Right, baby. So maybe now we figure things out as 3 people instead of 2? She looks between us hopefully. Is that allowed? I look at Dante. He looks at me. Neither of us answers immediately because the weight of that question is enormous. Would you want that? Dante asks Sophie carefully. 3 people figuring things out together? Yes, obviously yes. You make Mom smile. You help me with my homework. You brought me a desk and books and a telescope. You're like... She struggles for words. You're like the missing piece we didn't know we needed. Does that make sense? Perfect sense, Dante says, and his voice is rough with emotion. But only if you're going to stay. Really stay. Not like Dad, where you promise and then disappear. Sophie's face is serious. Because if you're going to leave anyway, it's better if you leave now, before we get too used to you. The honesty of childhood is brutal and necessary. Dante crosses the room and kneels in front of Sophie, taking her small hands in his much larger ones. Sophie, listen to me very carefully. I am not leaving. I will mess up sometimes. I will make mistakes. I might even make you angry occasionally. But I will not leave. Not your mom. Not you. Not this. He gestures at the disaster zone of our apartment. I'm here, for as long as you both will have me. Promise? I promise, and when I make a promise, I keep it, always. Sophie studies his face for a long moment, then nods. Okay, you can stay. Just like that, the simplicity of childhood trust. She's decided to believe him. I wish it were that easy for me. That night, after Sophie falls asleep surrounded by her new books, Dante and I sit on the fire escape, my favorite spot because it's the closest thing to privacy in a 1-bedroom apartment. You handled that well, I say quietly. With Sophie, with Michael, all of it. I almost ruined her birthday by starting a fight with her father. But you didn't. You stopped when I asked. You apologized. You respected boundaries. I lean against his shoulder. That matters. Emma, I need to ask you something. My stomach clenches at his serious tone. Okay. Do you believe me when I say I'm not leaving? I'm quiet for a long moment, watching the Brooklyn lights flicker in the distance. I want to. But you don't. I don't know how to. Michael said the same things. He promised forever, and then he didn't even make it to Sophie's 2nd birthday before cheating. The old wound aches. How am I supposed to trust that you're different when the words are exactly the same? Because words are easy. Actions are what matter. He turns to face me fully. Emma, I know you're scared. I know you've been hurt. But you can't let your ex-husband's failures prevent you from seeing what we have. What do we have? Everything. We have Sunday pancakes and midnight phone calls, and the way Sophie lights up when I teach her something new. We have your terrible habit of falling asleep during movies, and my terrible habit of wanting to fix every problem immediately. We have this messy, complicated, beautiful thing that's worth fighting for. His hand cups my face. But I can't fight for it alone. You have to fight too. You have to choose to believe that I'm different, that this is different. I'm trying. Try harder. It's not harsh, just honest. Because I love you. I love Sophie. And I'm not going to spend the rest of our lives proving I'm not Michael. At some point, you have to decide to trust me. Not because I've earned it, though I think I have, but because that's what love requires. Vulnerability, risk, faith. You're asking a lot. I'm asking everything, because I'm offering everything in return. He pulls out a small box, the one I saw earlier, the special present he wanted to give Sophie himself. My heart stops. Dante, if that's... It's not a ring. Relax. But he's smiling as he opens it. Inside is a necklace, delicate gold with a pendant that shows 3 interlocking circles. I had this made. 3 circles. 3 people. Connected but distinct. Each one is complete on its own but stronger together. It's beautiful. It's a promise, not an engagement. Not yet. But a promise that I see us as a unit, a family, that where you and Sophie go, I go, that your struggles are my struggles, that your joy is my joy. He fastens it around my neck. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to promise anything back. I just needed you to have this, to know that I've already decided. I'm all in, Emma. The question is whether you are too. I touch the pendant, feeling its weight, the permanence it implies. I'm scared, I whisper. I know. Be scared. I'm scared too. This is terrifying. Loving people is always terrifying. His forehead touches mine. But do it anyway. Be scared with me. Build something with me. Let me love you and Sophie the way you both deserve. The night air is cold. The fire escape creaks under our combined weight. Somewhere below, someone is playing music. Something with a lot of bass that vibrates through the metal. And here, on this rickety fire escape above a Brooklyn street, I make a choice. Okay. My voice is barely audible. Okay, I'm all in too. I'm going to trust you. I'm going to believe you. And if you break my heart, break our hearts, I will never forgive you. Fair enough? His smile is radiant. But I won't break your hearts. Not if I can help it. That's not a guarantee. No, but it's the best I can offer. My intention, my commitment, my love. He kisses me, soft and sweet, and full of promises I'm choosing to believe. Is that enough? I think about Sophie inside, sleeping surrounded by books and dreams, and the desk that someone built specifically for her. I think about Sunday mornings and midnight conversations, and the way Dante looks at me like I'm extraordinary instead of ordinary. I think about being brave. Yes, I say finally, it's enough. 3 months later, on a February afternoon that's too cold for rational humans, I'm standing in the kitchen of Dante's penthouse. Because yes, we're spending more time here now, and though I've kept my apartment as a safety net, I'm slowly learning I don't need it. Sophie bursts through the door, followed by Dante, both of them covered in snow. Mom, we built a snowman in Central Park, and Dante let me put his scarf on it even though it's Gucci and probably cost $1 million. 2,000, and it's just a scarf. Dante is shaking snow from his hair, grinning. The look on your daughter's face when I said she could use it? Priceless. Sophie runs to change into dry clothes, leaving us alone in the kitchen. Dante crosses to me, pulling me into his arms despite being freezing and wet. You're cold, I protest, but I'm not pulling away. You're warm. It balances out. He kisses me and I taste snow and something else. Contentment, maybe. How was your day? Good, I got the job. He pulls back, eyes wide. The curriculum coordinator position? Yes, they called an hour ago. I start next month. The promotion means better pay, better hours, and actual influence over what we teach. Sophie and I can move to a bigger apartment, maybe even get her the bedroom with the window she wants. Or, Dante's expression is carefully neutral. You could move in here, both of you, officially. My heart stutters. Dante, before you panic, hear me out. Sophie already has a room here. You've been staying over 3 or 4 nights a week. You have a toothbrush in my bathroom and your coffee in my pantry. Your favorite blanket is on my couch. Moving in wouldn't change what we're doing. It would just make it official. That's a huge step. We've already taken huge steps. This is just acknowledging reality. He tucks his hair behind my ear. Emma, I love waking up next to you. I love Sophie's books scattered across my living room. I love that you've made this place feel like home instead of just an expensive bachelor's box. Move in. Let me take care of you both properly. I don't need taking care of... I know. You're independent and capable, and you've survived everything life threw at you. But maybe you don't have to just survive anymore. Maybe you can actually live. Thrive. Let someone else carry some of the weight. His voice softens. What do you say, Bella? Before I can answer, Sophie reappears in dry clothes and immediately picks up on the tension. What's wrong? Are you guys fighting? No, baby. Dante just asked if we want to move in here, officially. Sophie's eyes go wide. Really? Like this would be our home? All the time? If your mom agrees, yes. Sophie looks at me with such hope it physically hurts. Can we, Mom? Please. I love it here. I have my own bathroom and that huge desk in the library, and Dante's building has a doorman who knows my name, and there's that bakery downstairs that makes the good croissants and... Breathe, baby. But I'm laughing because her enthusiasm is infectious. But can we, please? I look at Dante. This man, who built a desk for my daughter, learned her favorite books, and shows up for school events even when I tell him he doesn't have to. This man has spent 3 months proving, day after day, that his promises aren't empty. On one condition, I say. Anything. I pay rent, or contribute to expenses. Something. I need to contribute. Absolutely not. Dante, Emma, I own this building. There is no rent, and my expenses are substantial. Your contributing wouldn't make a meaningful difference financially. He holds up a hand before I can argue. But if you need to contribute to feel comfortable, then contribute to the household. Groceries, Sophie's activities, things that benefit all of us. Deal? It's a compromise I can live with. Barely. Deal. So we can move in. Sophie is bouncing on her toes. Really, really? Really, really? She screams, an ear-piercing sound of pure joy, and hugs us both simultaneously. This is the best day ever. That night, after Sophie is asleep in what will soon officially be her room, Dante and I are back on that fire escape. Though this one is much nicer than my Brooklyn one, with actual furniture and heating elements. You made her year, I say quietly. Maybe her life. I made all our lives. This feels right, Emma. You're here, Sophie here, all of us together. He's quiet for a moment. I need to tell you something. My stomach clenches. That sounds ominous. Not ominous, just important. He takes my hand. Michael called me today. What? Why? He wants to set up a regular schedule with Sophie, every other weekend, maybe one weeknight. He said he's been going to therapy, working through his issues with commitment and fatherhood and all of it. Dante squeezes my hand. He apologized to me. He said he realized that fighting me was pointless, because I'm clearly not going anywhere. Said he'd rather work with me than against me, if it means Sophie has consistency. I don't know what to say. Wow, that's growth. It is. I told him I'd support whatever arrangement you and Sophie are comfortable with, that I'm not trying to replace him, just supplement. He looks at me. Is that okay? That I've been communicating with him? More than okay. It's mature and thoughtful and exactly what Sophie needs. I lean against him. Thank you for making this easier instead of harder. She's going to have a complicated family situation, multiple father figures if Michael actually follows through. But complicated doesn't mean bad. It just means we all have to communicate and put her first. When did you become so wise about parenting? When I fell in love with a brilliant woman and her even more brilliant daughter. He kisses the top of my head. I'm learning as I go, Emma. But I'm learning because I want to. Because you're both worth the effort. We sit in comfortable silence, watching Manhattan glitter below us. Sophie is inside, safe and warm. Michael is trying to be better. Dante is here, solid and present and real. This morning I woke up and you were making coffee, I say quietly. Sophie was at the table doing homework. You were helping her with math. It was so ordinary, so domestic. And I realized, this is what I've been wanting for 2 years. Not grand gestures or expensive gifts. Just normalcy, partnership, someone who shows up for the boring parts. The boring parts are my favorite parts. Mine too. I turn to face him. I love you, Dante Salvatore. I love you for the big things, the desk and the security, and the way you protect us. But I love you even more for the small things, the Sunday pancakes, the help with homework, the way you remember Sophie's library books are due on Tuesdays. I love you too, Emma Chen, for the big things and the small things and everything in between. He pulls out another small box, different from the necklace, more minor, more significant. My breath catches. Dante, I'm not asking yet. I'm just showing you where we're headed. He opens it to reveal a ring. Simple, elegant, perfect. When you're ready. When you're sure. When you believe completely that I'm not going anywhere. That's when I'll ask properly. But until then, know that this exists. That I've chosen you. That I'm just waiting for you to be ready to choose me back. Officially, I stare at the ring, at the promise it represents. I'm almost there. Almost ready. I know, I can wait. He closes the box and tucks it away. I've waited 34 years for you. A few more months won't kill me. What if it's longer than a few months? Then it's longer. Emma, I'm not going anywhere. How many times do I have to say it before you believe me? Probably a few thousand more. Then I'll say it a few thousand more times. He pulls me closer. I'm not leaving. I'm not disappearing. I'm not going to wake up one day and decide this is too hard. I chose you. I choose you. I will keep choosing you. Every single day. Until you finally believe it. I already believe it. Maybe I've thought it for weeks. And I'm just afraid to admit it. Afraid that acknowledging how much I need him will give him the power to hurt me. But love requires vulnerability. Trust requires risk. Happiness requires believing that good things can last. Okay, I whisper. I believe you. Yeah? Yeah, I believe you're not leaving. I believe you love us. I believe this is real. I cup his face in my hands. And I believe I'm ready to stop protecting myself from happiness and just be happy. His smile could power the entire city. Thank God. Because I was running out of ways to prove myself. You don't have to prove anything anymore. You already have. I kiss him, long and deep and full of the faith I've spent 3 months building. Ask me. Ask me properly. Now, here? Right now, right here, before I lose my nerve. He laughs and pulls out the box again. Then, impossibly, he gets down on one knee on the fire escape. And suddenly this is happening. This is real. Emma Chen, you are the bravest, strongest, and most stubborn woman I've ever met. You've survived everything life threw at you and came out stronger. You've raised an extraordinary daughter while working 2 jobs and never once asking for help even when you desperately needed it. You've built a life from scratch after someone broke you, and you did it with grace and humor and incredible courage. My eyes are already wet. I want to spend the rest of my life earning the trust you're giving me today. I want Sunday pancakes and Tuesday library trips and help with math homework. I want fights about whose turn it is to do dishes and debates about where to go on vacation and all the boring, beautiful, mundane moments that make up a life together. I want to be Sophie's stepfather, and your husband, and the person who shows up, every single day, without fail. He opens the box and the ring catches the city lights. Emma Chen, will you marry me? Sophie's face appears in the window behind us, pressed against the glass, her eyes wide and her hands over her mouth. I laugh through tears. Our daughter is watching. Let her watch. She should see this. See you being brave. See us choosing each other. His eyes don't leave mine. What do you say, Bella? I think about my apartment in Brooklyn with the broken elevator and the neighbor who plays loud music at 2 a.m. I think about 2 years of struggling alone, convinced I didn't deserve help or happiness or anything beyond survival. I think about this man who saw me at my lowest and decided I was worth pursuing, who loved my daughter before he knew if I'd love him back, who has spent 3 months showing up, consistently, proving that not all promises are empty. I think about being brave. Yes, I say, and the word feels like freedom. Yes, I'll marry you. Yes to Sunday pancakes and homework help and boring domestic moments. Yes to complicated family dynamics and learning as we go. Yes to you, Dante Salvatore. Yes to all of it. He slides the ring onto my finger. Perfect fit. Of course, he made sure it was perfect. And then he's kissing me, and Sophie is screaming inside and probably waking the entire building. But I don't care. Because this is happiness. Real, messy, complicated, beautiful happiness. The blind date who never showed led me here. To this fire escape, this ring, this man, this life I didn't know I was allowed to want. I love you, Dante whispers against my lips. I love you too. Both of us do. Sophie bursts onto the fire escape, already crying happy tears. You said yes. I heard you say yes. I said yes. I pull her into our embrace. We're getting married, baby. We're going to be a family. Officially. We were already a family, she says matter-of-factly, even as she's wiping tears. This just makes it legal. Dante laughs, a sound of pure joy. She's not wrong. We stay there on the fire escape, the three of us wrapped in blankets and each other, watching Manhattan glow below us. Inside, our life is waiting. Our future is waiting. And for the first time in 2 years, I'm not afraid of what that future holds, because I'm not facing it alone anymore, because the stranger who whispered, I own this entire city 3 months ago has given me something more valuable than any city. He's given me a home. A home.